Billy, good question. What compels me to work with Democrats on issues like energy, Social Security, immigration? Well, I've come to conclude that immigration, which is a terrible mess for this country, is only going to be solved when you get both parties in the room trying to find a way to fix it. What do I want? What am I trying to get as a conservative? I want to break the chain migration that led to 12 million illegal immigrants coming here. I want to make sure that in the future that the only people who get green cards are the ones that have offer the country something. And that if you get a green card in the future, you can't bring your third cousin. It's just a mother and father and minor children. We're giving green cards away like crazy to extended family, and we need to save those green cards to give to people who can add value to our economy. We're going to need immigration in the future, lawful immigration, to meet our business needs. But Republicans are not going to be able to solve this problem without sitting down with Democrats. I'm all for building the fence. I'm all for a temporary worker program. I'm all for employer verification. If I had my way, all of us who have a Social Security card, which is a piece of paper, would take our cards in and get biometric documents to replace that piece of paper. So that when you went to get a job, I went to get a job, we could hand to our employer, prospective employer, a document with our picture and some identifying marks about who we are, so that he would know we're here legally. And that would make it hard for employers in the future to hire illegal immigrants. 12 million people are here for a reason. They're coming here to get jobs. If you made it hard to get into the country by having a secure border, and once you got here you couldn't find a job unless you were here legally, illegal immigration would stop. But there's 12 million people that have come across that border for the last 20 or 30 years. 4 million children are born to these 12 million who are American citizens, a lot of them in the military. So what do some Democrats want? They want the 12 million to be able to have a legal status, not to become citizens unless they get in the back of the line, but they're not going to be deported or put in jail. So if you're not going to be willing to give in that area, you're not going to get border security, temporary worker program that will help our businesses, and employer verification to stop these illegals coming in the future. 40% of the people here in the country came illegally by overstaying their visa. They never crossed the border. That's just one example. If we don't work together, nothing gets done. The Arizona law, I understand the frustration, but you could have 30 states doing what Arizona did, and you could have 20 states going the way California's going, and you just got a mess. The federal government ought to fix this. The federal government ought to secure our borders, and we ought to deal realistically and firmly with the 12 million. If you stay here, you don't get to be a citizen by breaking in the line. If you want to be a citizen, leave the country, get in the back of the line like everybody else. Learn English, pay taxes, pay fines for the law you broke. That's about the best we can do, and that's going to take bipartisanship. Social Security is running out of money. In 2016, we pay more benefits than we collect in taxes. If somebody doesn't sit down and get that right, Social Security is going to go bankrupt in the next 30 years. No one party is going to be able to solve that problem. Bush tried, to his credit, couldn't get one Democratic vote. I'm going to keep trying. I am a conservative Republican with a 90% lifetime rating. I voted against the stimulus. I voted against Obama health care. I've been a fiscal, social conservative at the 90% range. But for the country to survive, quite frankly, we got to get some of these problems solved. Social Security is a ticking time bomb. Medicare is going to explode down the road in terms of cost to this country. And it's going to take Republicans and Democrats like Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill. Ronald Reagan was a great conservative Republican. Tip O'Neill was a true liberal. They got together and found a way in 1983 to save Social Security from bankruptcy, and it worked for about 40 years. Nobody questioned Ronald Reagan being a conservative. Ronald Reagan gave amnesty to 3 million illegal immigrants. That was a mistake. But at the end of the day, he tried to solve problems. So, like Ronald Reagan, I will sit down with the other side, but I'm going to get something for it. I'm not going to vote for an immigration bill that doesn't stop this problem in the future and doesn't allow our employers access to the labor they need, and come up with a way so that Americans can get jobs before anybody else, and the magnet of illegal immigration will finally be dealt with. I want to do something about Social Security before it runs out of money. One quick story. When I was in college, my mom died. I was 21. My dad died 15 months later when I was 22. I had to adopt my sister. She was 13. If it were not for a Social Security survivor benefit coming to my sister from my parents, contributions, we'd have a hard time making it. We moved in with an aunt and uncle that worked in textile plants. Both those plants are closed now. But I've had a time in my life where I could see where Social Security made a difference. I want to protect that program from going into bankruptcy, and that's going to take some Democrat and some Republican sitting down and finding a way forward. And I'll be one of the Republicans. I'll get something for the negotiations I entered into, whether it be energy, Social Security, and immigration. But this country can't make it unless we get these big issues resolved, and that's going to take bipartisanship. Strom Thurmond was a great conservative, but he had a reputation for working with Democrats on the big things that mattered, particularly national security. I'm going to help President Obama in Afghanistan. He did the right thing by sending 30,000 troops in. He shouldn't put a deadline on when they begin to leave. That's a huge mistake, but he's taken a lot of grief from the left. But he did the right thing in sending troops to Afghanistan. He did the right thing by slowing the withdrawal down to a reasonable pace in Iraq. So I'm going to work with him on national security issues when I can. If he believes that we need to use military force against Iran, I'll stand right behind him. I'll challenge him when I need to. I'll work with him when I should for the good of the country. And that's what this country was built upon. Joe Biden spoke at Strom Thurmond's funeral. Not because Joe Biden and Strom Thurmond agreed a lot. It's because they respected each other. I'm going to be a conservative Republican as long as I'm in politics. But I also want to be someone that has a vision for the country that will meet the other side in the middle on things that the nation as a whole has to deal with, like illegal immigration, like a failed Social Security system, foreign policy, where all of us are at risk if we get it wrong. So I don't mind working with the other side on things that matter, but I will get something for it.